In this episode, we talk about the new trend of using AI chatbots for relationship advice. We also talk about a shortage of staff in the Mumbai Education Department offices. But we begin today by talking about the IIM Calcutta rape case. Hi, I am Niharika Nanda, and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. A woman psychologist from Kolkata has alleged that she was raped inside the boys' hostel at the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta on the 11th of July. The accused is a second-year student at the institute and is said to have been receiving counselling sessions from the victim. Now, this is the third such case to surface in Kolkata over the past year. It follows the rape case that was reported at the Arjikar hospital last year and another one in which a woman was gang-raped at the Kolkata Law College. In this segment, we are joined by the Indian Express's Tanusree Bose, who brings us more details about the case and the concerns it raises. Tanusree, could you walk us through what exactly has happened in this case? Who are the people involved here?
As we are getting to know from the complaint copy of the victim, she had been called by the accused Paramananda to the IIMC hostel in which he was residing, that is the Lakeview hostel of IIM Calcutta. And what we are getting to know is that the victim is a psychologist and she had gone to IIM to give a counseling session to the accused. And she had entered college campus around 11:45 a.m. That is what she mentioned in her complaint copy. And then with the excuse that, the accused had some work in his hostel room, he had taken her there. He had offered her lunch over there, which was pizza and water. And the victim states in her complaint copy that after drinking the water and having the food, she was feeling unwell. She wanted to throw up and wanted to use the washroom. But the accused did not allow her that, giving a reason that it would look bad if he spotted with some girl in the hostel premises. After which she says that she suddenly felt the accused grabbing her hair and pushing her. That is when she had gone, in order to save herself, she had slapped him and then the accused hid back, after which she realized that she was losing conscious. She, in her complaint copy, has stated that she regained conscious around 8:30 p.m. and she still found herself in that particular hostel in the accused room. She managed to flee, after which she had called another friend of hers. And they had gone to Thakurpukur police station, where she has alleged that she has been sexually assaulted. But since IIM does not fall under the jurisdiction of Thakurpukur police station, so they sent her to Haridepur police station, where her complaint was lodged, and the accused was taken into custody around 12:10 a.m. by the police.
And Tanusree, tell us, has the investigation in the case already begun? And also, since the incident took place in a boys' hostel, are the hostel's security systems also being looked into?
Well, the accused has been remanded into police custody till the 19th of July. Today, the police has formed a 9-member SIT. We also know that the police have taken in the CCTV visuals from the traffic department, which clearly shows that the victim had entered the campus premises at the time that she has said. According to police sources, are saying is that they have written to the IIM management seeking for the CCTV visuals footages that the management authorities have from the gate till the hostel where the accused stayed. With that, they would be getting to know about the movements of the accused. We also know that the police have moved to court asking to take the 183 statement of the victim under the BNSS. Also, they have called the accused parents to the police station because, as we are getting to know, that the victim has said that she is a clinical psychologist, and that the accused required counseling. That is what he had said, which is why she'd come to the campus. So the police are looking into the previous records, whether the accused had any mental illness, because the police have found no prescription or any form of medication that is taken if a person is going through some mental illness. We also know that the police are looking into the mobile of the accused because, as we are getting to know from police sources, that the accused had met the victim over social media. So his social media accounts would be looked into. We also know that the State Women's Commission, they have taken so much cognizance of the case, and today they had met with the police. They would also like to meet the parents and the victim if they are comfortable. And the Women's Commission of the state, they have asked for a report from the police regarding the progress of the investigation within 15 days.
And Tanushree, coming to the accused, what are the charges that he is facing right now? And also, you mentioned that the police is trying to get in touch with his parents. Have they said anything about the case yet?
Well, the charges that the accused is facing, there are several charges against him. Mainly, it's rape, it's also holding a person against their will, assault. These are the charges that he's facing. Well, the accused mother, she had reached Calcutta yesterday, but she was unable to meet with her son. But when she spoke to the media persons, she did express shock because she said that it's not possible for her son to do this. She would just like to meet her son. Also, when asked if he was having any sort of mental illness for which he was taking counseling, his mother clearly stated that she does not have any knowledge of this because he had not said anything about this to his parents.
And also, when talking about the parents, we understand that the victim's father has stated something else entirely.
Well, when the media questioned the victim's father, he stated that nothing of this sort had happened. There was no sexual assault. Nobody had misbehaved with his daughter. And the father claimed that this is what his daughter has said. He claimed that he'd received a call. It was said that his daughter had fallen off from a rickshaw or a car and she'd become unconscious. And Haridepur police, they had rescued her and taken her to the hospital, after which they had brought her to the police station. Now, the father said that he did not question much. His daughter had come back home and she was resting. But over the phone, the only thing she had said was that, nothing bad had happened to me. Nobody's misbehaved. And later, what the father claimed was that when he asked her that did such an incident happen, she denied it, saying that it was the police who had asked her to write this. So therefore, she'd written, but nothing had happened like what was written. So certainly there are contradicting statements, but till now the victim has not spoken. When we asked our police sources, they said that they would be carrying on with the investigation because the complaint was made by the victim, who's an adult, and not by the father. So the father's statement really does not make any effect or impact on the case or the investigation.
And Tanushree, has there been any official response from the institute so far? Have they issued a statement or said anything about how they are handling the situation?
Well, the institute yesterday had given an official statement in which they are stating that they are aware of the serious complaint involving one of our students, and the complainant is not part of the institute, and we are treating the matter with the utmost seriousness and are fully cooperating with the law enforcement authorities who are currently conducting an investigation. Now, certainly, they do wish to say that the management of Indian Institute of Management of Calcutta has zero tolerance for such incidents and remains steadfast in upholding a safe and respectful campus environment, and they are also taking necessary steps to support the process of the ongoing investigation. What we are also getting to know from our sources is that an SOP has also been circulated within the campus to the students and to the professors, where it has been clearly mentioned that any form of delivery, be it any food delivery or any other form of deliveries, that would be strictly restricted. The delivery boys are expected to wait outside the gate. Whoever's delivery it is, they are expected to come to the gate, collect it, and go to their respected hostels. Also, they have stated that students should refrain from going out of the campus for the next few days and should refrain from talking to any external stakeholders. Also, they have mentioned very clearly in the SOP that the room where the incident has taken place is completely out of bounds. It has been barricaded so that there is no tampering of evidence, and no police personnel is allowed to gain access to any room without the consent of the security guards.
And Tanushree, how has the state's ruling TMC government responded to this incident so far? And has there been any reaction from the opposition on this?
Well, certainly, if you see, this is one case where everybody's been a bit quiet. While we've seen that BJP MP Shukanta Majumdar, he has stated that though it is a central institution, which is why they have asked the police to take the strictest form of action and carry on the investigation. They've asked the management to submit a report. But Shukanta Majumdar of the BJP, he has stated that law and order is a state subject. so they cannot intervene in it. So the police has to take action. The state, on the other hand, they've clearly stated that they have taken action. The police immediately arrested the accused and investigation has begun. A 9-member SIT has been formed. So politically, if we see the left, they have hit out and the Congress have hit out, bringing up the topic of women's safety and security in the state. But certainly the TMC has not reacted so much in this matter.
And in the last 1 year, this is the third such case to come to light in Kolkata. Could you talk a bit about the kind of concerns this has raised around women's safety in the city?
Well, certainly, if you see, it does raise a lot of concern because as we see, it was Arjikar last year in August. Then the Kashba incident happened just around 2 weeks back, where law student got gang raped in her own campus, and now this. So certainly the question of safety of women does come in. People are worried. We've seen after the Kashba gang rape, we've seen parents coming to the college to drop their daughters, waiting there, wondering, when we'd asked them, they were like, we just want our children safe, so we are waiting here. After the IIM case, we got to know from our sources that parents had been calling the director, asking for proper security and questioning that where there is so much of CCTV and there are so many security guards, there are a layer of security in this premier institute. How did such an incident happen? But certainly it does raise questions about not only the safety of women, but law and order situation in Bengal and how safe women are. Though we do see that prompt action is taken by the police, but certainly questions are being raised about women's safety in Bengal.
And now, moving away from the developments in Kolkata, we turn our attention to AI chatbots. Over the past few years, there has been a rapid rise in the number of people using AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Jasper to boost productivity at work. From making schedules and writing emails to brainstorming project ideas and sorting data, these chatbots have become a part of daily life. But one aspect that perhaps isn't talked about enough is just how much people are turning to these bots to discuss their more private affairs, specifically matters related to their romantic and personal lives. It turns out that more and more people are feeding some of their most intimate thoughts and experiences to these bots, hoping they can help navigate relationship issues or get through rough patches with their partners. And this trend has raised concerns among therapists and counselors. To talk about some of those concerns and what this trend reveals about the state of mental health in India, my colleague Shashank Bhargava speaks to the Indian Express's Heena Khandelwal, who reported on this for the paper.
Heena, when it comes to relationships and personal problems, what are the kind of things that people end up asking these AI chatbots?
I was surprised to know that there is no limit and there is no beginning also. People are asking simpler things like, why is my partner upset? To sending their chat or transcriptions of their calls and asking ChatGPT to decode the partner's behavior. If a partner has suppose ghosted on you, then you're sending the chat and you're like, can you analyze this person's behavior? 2 questions like, this is our chat. Did I overreact or is my partner being unreasonable? 2 questions like, why did they break up with me? 2 questions like, how do I work on my relationship? How do I improve the communication between us? How do I deal with XYZ conflict? How can me and my partner have a better relationship? There really is no end.
And what kind of responses do they end up getting from these bots? How does AI parse through these personal transcripts and chats?
It entirely depends on the prompt. But from what we know so far, and it is very important to understand that ChatGPT is one thing and dedicated AI therapy bot is a separate thing. When it comes to ChatGPT, what we have realized so far is, and authors who have been working in the space and scholars who have been working in the space also back it, is that ChatGPT is very empathetic towards the user. It is going to say things that you want to hear. So if I am going to be uploading the transcript, it's going to tell me that I am right.
So for example, if you upload the transcription of a conversation you had with your partner, ChatGPT, for instance, is likely to say, oh, you're not at fault. But if your partner were to upload that same conversation, it will say things in his favor.
That's what one of the respondents told us. It was a person staying in Pune who had done this to save his relationship. They had already been to couple counseling and it was not working for them. So they decided to, as last measure, upload the transcript of their fights to ChatGPT. And the prompt was, can you speak like XYZ relationship counselor and give us feedback? And in hindsight, he now reflects that the response was biased towards him because it was his system. But if it would be his girlfriend's system, then the response would be biased towards him. And the bias is also very subtle. The bias is not outright saying, hey, you are right and your partner is wrong. The bias is subtle where it will first empathize with you that I understand you're going through this. I understand this is happening. You are right. You're right to feel this. It's very subtle, subtlety in which it backs your feelings, your emotions, and makes you feel more validated. Validation is the word, I think.
And Hina, one imagines that people are turning to these chatbots because of how accessible they are, right? Because finding a therapist, for example, one, takes time and it can cost a lot of money.
It does. Also, from what I have realized, again, from the conversations I had with a lot of people, was that it is a struggle to find the right therapist, the therapist that works for you. And personally, I've also been to multiple therapists before I found the one that works for me. So it is a process. And especially for somebody who's going through a heartbreak, say, or a bigger conflict in his personal relationship right now, they do not have the patience to sit through a session and multiple sessions and then didn't realize that it is not working for them and then find another therapist. The second thing is, of course, the money. Therapy is very, very expensive. I spoke to so many people and all of them said that money is one of the factors why they take therapy, say, once a week or once in 15 days over twice a week. Even if the therapist would suggest them take session twice a week, they say money becomes a constraint. The third and very interesting information that came to me during these conversations was how so many people felt judged by their therapist. And it was not necessarily therapist's fault. They felt being judged just because they were opening up to someone else. Also, a lot of times, your therapist is somebody who's living around you in the same colony, in the same neighborhood, in the same pin code or area, right? So there's always that fear of being outed, right? And almost everybody told me that they feel so much more comfortable talking to ChatGPT because they feel it's anonymous. They feel there is no judgment. There is no bias. Even though I don't think that's true. I mean, ChatGPT has bias because it's your system. It has been fed a lot of information about you. And your therapist is much more likely to have less judgment, if not judgment at all, and much more likely to keep things confidential because that's part of their practice.
Right. And when we're talking about anonymity and privacy, I mean, when you spoke to experts, did they flag concerns related to privacy? Because people are sharing, some really intimate stuff with these AI chatbots.
Yeah. And I spoke to an author. Her name is Madhumita Murgya. She has written a book on AI and she's been working in the field for a very long time. And she said, anonymity is not a guarantee here because these are giant corporates. These are not non-profit organizations. But people right now are feeling supremely comfortable talking to AI. In fact, one person told me on the condition of anonymity that she was going through a breakup. As a last resort, she decided to meet her then boyfriend and they went for a weekend getaway. The person was pressurizing her to have unprotected sex and she refused. And that was the last time. And then they broke up. And then the guy broke up, So she was left with a lot of guilt and confusion. That was I the reason? Did I not comply? Should I have complied and all of that? And she said that although she was in therapy, the sessions that she would need to open up to a therapist versus how quickly she would tell all of it to ChatGPT. It was like, I think a lot of people are also seeing ChatGPT as journal, as diary entry. They're just going to the platform and whatever is on their mind, they're just like typing it out. And they are thinking that it's going nowhere. But we don't know what's likely to happen. I mean, it was many, many years later that we realized that Facebook is not really as private as we thought it is.
And Hina, when you spoke to actual therapists and psychologists, what did they have to say about this trend, especially considering that therapy and counseling, are very specialized fields?
To be very honest, responses varied from therapist to therapist. Almost all of them agreed, that it is now part of everybody who's coming to us. at least 50% of them are saying that, oh, but I read this on ChatGPT, but I asked ChatGPT about this and that was what this said. Now, what everybody also admitted is that a lot of times the broader diagnosis is often right. It's more right than it is wrong. The problem is often when it comes to, say, one of the case studies that a psychotherapist shared with me was when somebody comes to her with diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. And she said a lot of time it is misdiagnosed, and it is diagnosed correctly only when a therapist diagnoses it, because therapist probes you. She's going to poke you. She's going to ask you more questions. She's going to dwell on your feelings and then come to a conclusion. Whereas ChatGPT is going to tell you what you are going to feed it. If you're going to feed that I have these 5 symptoms, ChatGPT is like, okay, sure, you have it. But therapist is not going to accept whatever you're saying. She's going to dwell more and deeper. And she's going to ask you a lot of uncomfortable questions, which ChatGPT might not. Also, your therapist has suppose working with you in a certain fashion, right? And she's chalked out a certain timeline for you. Now, the idea is to make you resilient, right? The idea is to enable you to cope with that feeling of being unhappy, of distress, of anxious, and a lot of other feelings, right? So therapist is working on making you capable to cope with it when it happens next and cope with it better. But because of ChatGPT, what happens is, no matter what time of the day it is, no matter where you are, the app is now available on your phone, in your system. And almost all of us are sitting either in front of a system or mobile phone. You can ask ChatGPT in real time about your feeling. And now what happens is, it's like you're not working, you're not waiting and going through that process and that drill and become capable to deal with that emotion. Instead, you're always running to ChatGPT. When something goes wrong, ChatGPT. Boss scolded you, ChatGPT. What it's doing is, it's not allowing you to be capable to deal with something on your own.
And also earlier you mentioned that besides ChatGPT and Gemini, there are also several specific therapy-based apps. How do those differ from these generic chatbots?
So I have spoken to 2 of the founders who have such AI therapy platforms in India. One is Visa, which is founded by Joe Agarwal of Bangalore, and one is InfiHeal, which is by Shrishti Srivastava of Bombay. And now what they told me is that for InfiHeal, for example, the process is the minute somebody logs onto the platform, it has 3 categories. The first is your day-to-day stressors, say hectic day at work, presentation didn't go as expected. And then the platform speaks to you, helps you deal with it. And she says platform is sufficiently capable to deal with it. The second thing is if you have a history where you've been clinically diagnosed with depression, anxiety, or any other disorder, and then the platform will encourage you to speak to a therapist in real life. And they will also match you with therapist on their board and, And the third thing is when you are dealing with an immediate distressor, and then in those cases, they'll put you in touch with helplines, for suicide and other preventive helplines. Visa also has this, if they feel that the user is right now very distressed and needs help beyond what the bot can do, they also again connect you with helplines. We are yet to see how Visa has been there since 2017, so that's a long time. InfiHeal is just like a couple of months old. So we will know it only when something goes wrong and the platform is unable to handle. Then only I think we'll have better insight into it. But as of now, the users are maintaining that the platform, because it has been built with mental health professionals on board, it is right now sufficiently dealing with users and their issues.
And the other thing that you've written is that this trend also highlights the lack of good and affordable mental health professionals in the country, right? So talk to us a bit about that aspect.
So the state is really sad. We have very, very few mental health professionals when it comes to our population. And the ratio is really skewed. And we need to figure out a way where mental health can be more accessible. Another thing that needs to be done is maybe it can be a part of our insurance in some way. I think right now that is one of the biggest hurdle.
Right. Dental and mental usually are not part of your health insurance.
Exactly. But what happens in that process is that it remains inaccessible to you. And I'm talking about people who are privileged enough to be on social media, to, who I could reach out. They are professionals working in the space of marketing, content writing, advertisement, podcast. When people with privilege, Imagine the state of people who do not have access to it. So we really need mental health to be more accessible. And if insurance somehow would cover it, I think a lot more people would reach out. Right now, even for the people who are doing well, the money is a deterrent because unlike any other disease, right? If you have fever, you go to doctor. Even if the doctor charges you 1,000, it's a one-time fee. You come back with 5-day medicine and you're good to go. But with therapy, what happens? It's a long journey. It's a journey that can be a year, 2 year, 3 year long, week after week. Shelling out a minimum of 1,500 to 2,500, sometimes even 7,000 rupees. It's not easy. For a lot of people, it's not easy. It's not doable.
And in the end, we talk about a shortage of staff in the Mumbai Education Department offices. A serious staff crisis is crippling the school education sector in Mumbai. While lack of teachers has always been a major concern, now teachers have come forward highlighting a more serious issue. Severe shortage of staff in the education department's offices across 3 divisions of Mumbai, North, West and South. With the offices being understaffed, vital tasks like processing of Teachers' Provident Fund, promotions, medical reimbursements, and recognition orders are stalled, causing frustration and distress among school teachers and principals. As per data accessed by Anil Burnare of the BJP Teachers Association, the North Division, which oversees 527 schools, has only 2 deputy education inspectors against 6 such posts and 2 assistant deputies instead of 7. Both superintendent posts are vacant besides nearly half of the clerical and peon staff. The situation is similar with up to 80% posts remaining vacant in the West Division, which oversees 783 schools, as well as the South Division, under which 418 schools function. Additionally, half of the senior clerk posts and 2/3 of the junior clerk posts remain vacant, severely impacting the office operations. Confirming that there is considerable vacancy in the education department offices, Rajesh Kankal, Deputy Director of Education Mumbai, has said, quote, "The concern has been raised with the state's education department, which fills the vacancy through Maharashtra Public Service Commission, especially for clerks. Posts of deputy and assistant officers are filled through promotions, and its requirement too has been communicated to the government." Unquote. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Shashank, Bhargava and me, Niharika, Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.